This video will discuss about Java basic input and output.
Built-in classes in Java. There are a lot of built-in classes in Java, but here we will give focus or emphasis in these classes because we will be needing this especially in the basic input and output of Java. So first we have system, array, scanner, file, object, random, string, math, integer, character, and a double. Or basically why we're using this one, because these are the most used classes or built-in classes in Java. Java has a large built-in library of classes with lots of useful methods. Once you should become familiar with quickly. Once we will be familiarize all of this the moment that you will start coding, because these are the most used classes in Java. So I will just discuss few because we will be using it in the next few slides. We already experienced the use of system, wherein we use it in displaying text in your console. So we have system that out at println, if you could still remember. We also have arrays for defining or extended variable declaration, and then we also have scanner is used to catch or acquire or get input from the user, or get an instruction from the user, catch the instruction from the user from the console environment. So we will be using system and scanner in the next few slides, or in this slide, in this topic that we will be handling on, which is the basic input output of Java. To look more of what are those other built-in library of classes in Java, you can look at the Java API page. Java output. With Java output, it just simply means that how are you going to display your output, or what will be the command in order for you to know what's the program is doing, or what's the value of such line. Once you would like to test the content or the value of it, then you will be needing some output display. So we have the most used, or the commonly used, is the system that out at print ln. So we already exercised this one in our first example. So we have the class system. We call out now the class system, and one of the method of class system is out, and invoke now the instruction or one property of out method, which is the print ln. Print ln, that's just simply means we have here print ln or ln. So that's it prints string inside the code, similar like print method. Then the cursor moves to the beginning of the next line. So they perform the same function, they perform the same behavior. The method is the behavior. So they perform the same behavior, the print and the print ln. They both display text, they both display the value of a variable. But what makes it different is that when you say print ln, it always starts to the next line. So it always jump to the next line. So we have here next line as the definition or the distinction of print ln from that of print method. Other print or output displaying also is the printf. It provides string formatting similar to printf in C++ programming. So we will have example on how are they used in Java programming once we have our demonstration or demonstration of Java code. So that's that Java output. All right, sample code for the use of the print ln and print that we have discussed. So we have here, we use the name of our class as output, and we put the instruction inside of the public static void main. So we have system, it starts with a capital letter because it's a class. We call the method out, and then another instance action inside of the method out is print. We have now print ln. So the inside of that open and close parenthesis is one dot print ln, and the other one is two dot print ln. That means we use, in this case, we use print ln for the two lines. In other words, it is expected that one dot print ln will always print on the next line. as the definition of println. So here in the output, we see 1.println, that's the value inside of the double quote, and the other one also the print 2.println also jump to the next line because of the command line println. So the difference of print from that of the println is that if you would observe here, although we release a command, two lines of command, which is system.out.print, 1.print, and the other one is system.out.print, 2.print, still the output is continuous. You could see they're just print in one line, the 1.print and the 2.print because of the absence of ln. So see the difference? These two lines here is represented by this line of code, and they both jump to the next line, while this command also is released using the code print, and if you could see, it's just released straight, or the output is straight manner way of displaying. So that's the sample use of system.out.print, print ln, and print. So with Java input, we have Java provides different ways to get input from the user. However, in this tutorial, you will learn to get input from user using the object of scanner class. In order to use the object of scanner, we need to import java.util.scanner package. So those are the basic things to remember when you use scanner class. There are a lot of options in terms of getting an input from the user. You can make use of the J option pane. You can also get input from the user through file stream, and there's also a buffer reader, and those are just the thing that I can remember. So but here we will demonstrate the use of scanner. That's the reason why we discussed earlier those classes. If you could built-in classes in Java, this one, the system, arrays, scanner, because most of our content, the video that you will be exposed in this tutorial, will be using system and scanner, arrays, and those other built-in classes. So we have Java input. In this content, if you will use scanner class, you would also call, or you would also release an import java.util, because scanner class is stored in the package util in Java compiler. So we have create an object of scanner. So new is an object, not new. Input is an object of scanner. Scanner is a class, and we instantiate another class, and we instantiate instance of a class scanner by releasing the command new scanner and system.in. System.in is an instruction that catch an input from the user through the console. So that's the purpose of system.in. Take input from the user. So we have int number equals input.nextInt. So you will have, if the variable, or if you are asking input from the user, which is a number, therefore the command line or the instruction or the method that you are going to use for accessing number from the user is the nextInt. So it follows also that you will have next long, next byte, next float, next double, next string, next car. So depending on the kind of variable that you have declared, and that would also be the kind of method that you would call as instance of the class scanner, which is input. So that variable that you put here, the object you declare for the scanner class, is also the same object that you are going to use to call out all other methods of scanner class. So we will have a simple demonstration of an output. Let's have the example of scanner class. So we use the Java Funda package. We're still on the Java Fundamental project, and we still on the package under Java Funda. So we have here scanner, and as I have mentioned over and over, you have to call now you have to import now the Java util where the scanner is a part of, or the package of the scanner is a part of. So we have input as our object of scanner class, and calls now the input of the user through that system that int, or it will read now instruction that's typed by the user in the keyboard, and assigned it to input object that is a scanner. So we have system.out.print. It will now display the word enter an integer in the console. And the next line is int number. We'll create now a variable named number, and the data type of that variable is an integer, it will wherein it will serve as the storage of the value inputted by the user. So we have input here as the object of our scanner, and next line is an instruction that will catch now an input value, which is a form of number from the user. So if you could still this is comparable with C in your C++. So this whole line is like the cin command in your C++. So int next int is accepting input from the user that is an integer value, and assign the input to number variable. And then we display now the value of our number with that system that out at print and you entered. This is the exact string that we type, and the value, whatever value we put into our number variable. So you have number, and that's an integer variable. And if I would position my mouse in input, you could see that's a input scanner, and we also close now the scanner class. So let us run the program, or let us execute to see what's the output. Okay, you have, this is now run. Okay, I have two program here. We're just going to run the scan input. So okay, then you have, let's say I will put now 12 and press enter. You enter 12, so that's the word you enter 12, and the number that I have inputted. So this is the example use of scanner. Let's have another example. This time we will use nextLine and next. So this is about accepting input from the user, and that input is a string. So we have here, we still use scanner, and if we will recall, you have imported java.util to work that scanner class. The input is the object, and we invoke now the instruction to accept input from the user from the console. Okay, so we have int number equals input that next int, and this is the example we had a while ago, and it accepts now integer input from the user, that is input object, and next int, which is then an input in a form of integer. Here in the next line, we have now next line, which is the code will read the whole line of the whole line of input that the console has. But if you would observe, I have two string shown here, or instruction, because the common error if your program has an input of integer and following that another input of a string format is that the string entry or the string input will not be read out. And to accept the input of a string, you have to release a delimiter, which we put now into input that next line, and the next input that next line will read the whole line that's being this being typed by the user. Let's remove this first line so that you will understand why is it that I release two input that next line. And let's run the program. Okay, it prompt now to enter an integer, and that is because we release a command system.out@print enter an integer. So we have here the word integer. Int number equals input that next line. That's the line of command that accepts no input from the user. So we have I input now 12. Okay, so if you would observe, supposed to be it should ask first enter a name. Okay, it should ask first enter a name, but it does not. It no longer prompt for another input, which is a name, and immediately display the output. You entered 12 and there is no value for the name inputted. Why is it so? Because the moment that I press enter, it was captured by the command line string name equals input that next line, which means the value of the name is the whole line of the of right after I press enter, and the whole line of that was captured by name. So in order for you to accept input, you have to release two input line. The first input line was the command line of the whole. Once was the command, was the entry or was the date, what's the series of string under that whole line right after you enter and right after you press enter, or right after, because of that slash n, and the next line will be the actual capturing of your input. So let us try to put now the limit of value of input line. Okay, I input now number. Okay, so we have now here, so the time that I press enter to release the enter a name was captured by the delimit object of a string, and the second one, this is the one that asked now for the enter a name, was now captured by the name variable or the name object of string. I said object because string is a class. Okay, so if I would type pizza, and pizza. This means when you say that next line, it will get the entire text of that line, the entire string of that line. That means that's the function, or that's the method or the behavior of next line. So if I press enter, so you have entered 12 pizza, which is 12 is your value of number, and pizza is the value of your name. If we will, now the difference of next and next line is next will capture the entire line of input, while next will just get one stream of characters. So let us try. And this problem also, the one that I showed you a while ago, will only happen if you use next line. So when you use next, there's no need to delimit your input. So let us try. Alright, I press now 12, and this time I will input pizza, and pizza. But since I use next, it will only capture the first stream of characters, the first pizza word. Everything that follows right after the space, this is a space, that means it will not be read out at all. Okay, so you entered 12, that's your input, and pizza as your second input, the value of your. So that's it.